human rights experts say the law must apply to everyone.
The basic principle of the laws of war, the Geneva Conventions, is you cannot shoot prisoners, you cannot shoot the wounded. These are the laws that both apply to British forces but also protect British forces when they themselves are.
The Ministry of Defence here says that if there are credible allegations of criminal activity, it always investigates. And this case is just one of more than 1,500 alleged instances of abuses and unlawful killings, which are currently being looked into. Richard Galpin, BBC News.
Police have reopened the case of two 11-year-old boys who were murdered on Merseyside 36 years ago after receiving new information. John Greenwood and Gary Miller died after being found beaten and hidden under a mattress on a rubbish tip in Wiston in 1980. Well, our correspondent Fiona Trott is in Wiston for this evening. Fiona.
That's right. Friends of those two boys who vividly remember what happened here 36 years ago say they're delighted that this case has now been reopened. It's been reopened because Merseyside Police say they have fresh information, and the focus of their investigation now is this site here of the old church hall. They want to speak to anybody who saw three boys here and a man on August the 16th, 1980. This development is a major step forward for relatives of those two boys who for years have campaigned for this case to be reopened. The mothers of those children gave us their reaction to the news.
You think what would they have been like now? They would have been men in the late 40s. They would have had grandchildren. It's just terrible.
Nothing at all. It makes you bitter, and you know, I'm a very bitter person and over it. I mean, I haven't got many years left and I'd love to see justice done. I would.
Yeah.
In 1981, a man was tried for the boys' murder and found not guilty. What the relatives have been saying is they've lived in fear and frustration, thinking they may have passed the boys' killer on the streets here or sat next to him on a bus. And what they're hoping now is that the case is now being reopened 36 years on, and the police will now have modern techniques to help them find justice.
Fiona, thank you for that. Fiona Trott there in Wiston. MPs have accused Labour of failing to deal properly with allegations of anti-Semitism in the party and have criticised Jeremy Corbyn for not providing adequate leadership on the issue. The Labour leader rejected the findings by the Commons Home Affairs Committee. He said its focus on Labour was unjustified and there was no evidence it had more of a problem with anti-Semitism than other political parties. Campaigners are calling on the government to urgently speed up its programme to resettle hundreds of unaccompanied children stranded in Calais at the camp known as the Jungle. There have been renewed clashes between French police and some migrants ahead of the demolition of the camp within days. Our special correspondent Ed Thomas has spent the last week at the Jungle and he sent us this report.
Life in Calais, the rush to escape, the panic and the tear gas.
How old are you, Mohammed? 16? Yeah.
16 years old, and like many here, a teenager alone looking for a way out.
Tear gas is being fired all around. Some of the children trying to get in those trucks were as young as 14 or 15.
And these are the images that make many in Britain nervous. Mohammed says he has no family in the UK, but refuses to stay in France.
But you should be in a school. School in the UK. School in the UK, yeah.
But hundreds of teenagers here say they do have relatives in the UK and are now stranded in Calais. Like brothers Jamshed and Jamal. They're 14 and 16 and say they left Afghanistan 6 months ago. Jamshed says he's sad and wants to be with his father and cousin in England. Jamal tells us he's desperate. We've given our names in. We don't know what to do, he says. We are children. If their family links are proven, the British government has promised to reunite teenagers in days. Time is running out. Soon this camp will be demolished, but first Britain and France must agree who will care for the children of Calais. Thomas, BBC News.
Our correspondent Gavin Lee is in Calais as well for us. Now, Gavin, we know Home Office officials have been there. What is the process for unaccompanied children being allowed to come here to the UK?